"We need to get out of here," Kabir whispered urgently to Raghav. "Now!" But it was too late. The shadows closed in around them, the figure's cold laughter echoing through the fog. Kabir felt his strength draining away, his body growing weaker with every breath he took. The darkness seemed to press in on him from all sides, suffocating him, choking him. And then everything went black. Kabir's eyes flickered open, and the first thing he noticed was the coldness. His body felt frozen, as if he had been submerged in ice. His breath came out in visible puffs, and the fog he had seen earlier seemed to be thicker than ever, swirling around him like a living thing. His limbs were stiff, and his heart raced as he tried to make sense of what had happened. His surroundings were different, strange. The fog had parted, and the landscape stretched out before him, but it was nothing like the desert he had known. The air was damp, thick with moisture, and the ground was covered in a layer of moss that seemed to pulse with an eerie glow. There was a dark, unnatural light in the sky, a swirling mass of clouds that obscured the stars, casting everything in an otherworldly shade of grey. Kabir's first instinct was to move, to find his friends, Raghav, Meera, and Ankit. He tried to push himself to his feet, but his body felt heavy, as if the very atmosphere was weighing him down. The world around him seemed distorted, like a nightmare where nothing was as it should be. Suddenly, a sharp sound pierced the stillness. A sound like the rustling of leaves, but much too loud and unnerving. Kabir turned, his heart pounding in his chest. "Raghav!" he called out, his voice hoarse. "Meera? Ankit?" But there was no answer, just the sound of his own voice echoing in the emptiness. As he stood there, struggling to comprehend his surroundings, he felt a strange pull, a sensation almost like a magnetic force tugging at him from the center of the fog. Without thinking, he began to move toward it, his legs stiff and unsteady. The fog parted further, revealing something ahead. A shape, a figure. It was a woman. She stood in the distance, draped in a tattered white gown, her long black hair flowing in the wind, obscuring her face. She didn't move, just stood there, staring ahead as if waiting for something or someone. Kabir's instinct screamed at him to run, but he couldn't move. His feet were rooted to the ground, his body frozen in place by an unseen force. The woman began to move toward him, her steps slow, deliberate, but she didn't seem to touch the ground. It was as if she glided through the air, her form growing clearer with each step. As she drew closer, Kabir could see her face. It was pale, deathly so, and her eyes were hollow, empty sockets where life once resided. Her lips were pulled into a faint, knowing smile, but it was the kind of smile that made his blood run cold. "You shouldn't be here," the woman's voice whispered, a voice that sounded like the wind itself, soft yet commanding.